Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back up here. And talking about the energies again. Hopefully, you had a great day. Hopefully, from yesterday, something happened to you. Or yesterday, maybe you were the one who had to perform miracle. However, in your cases, but I'm looking at the energies for right now as you're watching the video. The moon is transitioning, and what it comes in with that. Moon that it's going on with this, and to put it a little bit more in a perspective in there. When the moon was at Virgo, you healed things. Okay, so thinking about it in the hospital after the surgery, you came out, you're happy, you're good, and so on and so on. Somebody has to clean up the mess, right? And where the mess is getting cleaned up, it's getting a clean up at Scorpio. But that is also another thing, that life after this healing, life after all these situations is going to be what it's going to be. And it's going to be one of these days that you're going to realizing this. For it. Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for coming in. And hello to you. So when you wake up in the morning, the moon is going to be squaring Pluto, and it's going to be opposing Mercury. There is something you don't want to talk about it, something hidden from within. Maybe you realize reasons. Maybe you find out things about yourself. Maybe you found things with others, or maybe something is triggering within you from yesterday. Everything was good, it's great, but the end, there is something right. It's all about this part of cleaning the mess. If you look at it in Mother Nature in there, the trees they're dying, and they're dissolving, and there is this bacteria that eats them together with water. It goes deep, deep into the ground, and that's how the natural oil is made. The oil that we're digging up from the ground, we put into a refinery, and we got the gasoline, the diesel, the oils, and so on and so on. And that happens in its Scorpio. And this is going to be that energy that you're going to be transforming it today. Because as that is going to comes in a personal relationship in there, the moon, it's going to begin to square a lot of, it's going to be opposing a lot of stuff. There isn't, at Taurus, going to begin with Mercury, and is going to begin to opposing Uranus tomorrow. She's going to be opposing the Sun, and so on. But we're talking about that at the same time, the Moon is going to providing this divine energy towards Mars and the North Node. What does that mean to you, though? You're finally accepting what it is, and it's going to be what it's meant to be. Because that union of Venus with Jupiter is union with Zeus and Athena, is made. It's a gods coming together. Cannot be unmade. It's a bond. It's naturally bonded there. And here's gonna comes out probably this lower feminine energy, like it's gonna comes in. It's gonna need to be break. It's gonna be needs to be this and that and so on. But the moon is gonna be comes in and gives these divine energies to Mars. It's like, hey, don't get agitated, don't get aggravated, don't do it, that, and so on. But understanding what is meant to be will be patience to receive. So that is going to be the energy at 7 o'clock that we are going to have in a world. That's how the day is going to be processed by. The energies at 8 o'clock is going to be very familiar to you. But still, this desire is not to talk, even if you go to work, even if you are within the family. It's going to be this intensity that it comes into, triggers you. Mars is going to be squaring the ascendant at Cancer. So you wake up early in the morning in there, or you are, it's already 9 o'clock. That energy is about what you need to do on the family. Okay. And as the moon is in its Scorpio, the biggest aspect is also it's squaring Pluto. That is a lack of the transformations. A lack of the transformations in this, it is about the comes in. It's like you don't want to let it go of something. You don't want to be allowing the changes to come in. But within the resistance of not allowing the changes in your life to come in, creates a stagnancy. It prevents the transformations, it prevents evolutions that it's happening. And Pluto saying it's retrograde, it says like, let me remind you, you want to go back into your old life? Let me remind you how does your old life look like? And 10 is gonna beginning that evolution is like, okay, if it's meant to be, it's gonna be what it's meant to be. I need to go on with this. And that is a some of you is going to be realizing things in the shadow within itself, or maybe realizing things for others. But that energy is going to be increasing at 10 o'clock as the day go by. The ascendant is at Leo. That is going to be squaring the moon, squaring Mercury. Um, it's going to be this. We talk about this energy. You're familiar with it. We're talking about Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, and Scorpio. So careful what you have on those zodiac signs in there. This is going to be a moment of, okay, you don't want to talk. Your ego is all over the place. You're like, I'm not going to talk, and I'll let them figure the things out the way I'm going to be, give them the look. You guys know this passive aggressiveness that it's in there. But at the same time, that is going to be locking you from change because you're not expressing what's going on within you. There is no communications. What is going on? You don't feel like you want to talk. Your emotions is not where they need to be, and all of a sudden you're lacking the changes. Well, the chances that like you change yourself, here is you're gonna be receiving that beauty in there, and that beauty is gonna happen. It doesn't matter if you're a part of it or you're not. And your intuition is sitting ducks. So later on, we're talking about 11 o'clock. That energy is going to be even more harder because midheaven, it's going very close to Mercury. You're going to be looking at why I don't want to talk. And there's going to be this time in there that maybe somebody's like, why do you want to talk? What's the matter? What is going this? And so on. And if you're still acting out of this passive aggressiveness of silence, which is the silence is the worst something can do to you, in there, um, you're going to be asking yourself, though, why are you silent? What is that going to be doing good to you if you continue doing it within this? Because currently the moon is not going to have any positive aspects. So basically, your intuition is going to be looking at everything that it's hidden within the shadow. How come something happened? Somebody got the goodies, from yesterday. How come somebody can make it and I cannot make it? Okay. And since the ascendant is still at the Leo and square is the moon, and that moon is opposing Mercury in the midheaven, your communications in there is going to be totally zipped up. But if you look at it deeply within yourself, that is the time to asking yourself, what is this pattern does for you? Do you evolve in that path? All right, as we're talking about, and the day is progressing, the midheaven it's passing through Taurus. Currently, the midheaven it's going to be at this 18 degrees of Taurus. It's going to be still opposing the moon. That case, the moon it's not having any positive energies right now. You all know when this madness of Scorpio is. So be mindful what you have at Scorpio. If that is your the third house, this is going to be your friends. If that is your fourth house, that means that Scorpio's energy is in your home. Be mindful of that environment at home and so on. For it, if it is a 10th house, this is something done with your profession. You may be creating some this shadow side, or maybe you're the one who actually working with another shadow side. Talking about this, some of you is can be working from this super secretive situations or law enforcement situations is in there, that you are actually kind of like a cop undercover in there. If that is in the seventh house, this can lead you to intimacy and so on, but that also can be leading you to going deep within the relationships, diving deep. So at 1 o'clock, the energy is going to be changing. The midheaven is going to be joining the sun, beautiful trines with Pluto and so on. Ascendant is going to be moving into Virgo, which is going to be squaring the sun a little bit. That's going to point out what it's not healed. Because if those lower energies comes in after the day of greatness in there, and there comes in and you have triggers, because you may not gonna have triggers, you may be done all the work that you're supposed to do from yesterday, but if you have triggers, sit down within yourself and see it. What else? What is this coming to me? Because if it's coming to me, there is a reason I feel these lower energies. Maybe something lower within me needs to be paid attention. Maybe there is a portions of this that it needs to be looked at it. Okay. This is going to be more that energy I'm talking about of jealousy. You're jealous that somebody else has a better life, better job positions, better things in there. You know, that jealousy of Scorpio. Why cannot they achieve that I cannot? And if they can't, then I'll do something so they cannot, but that's okay. If they don't have it, that's mean I have better. It's one of those weird patterns in the people that does that. But at 2 o'clock, the midheaven is going to be at 17 degrees of Gemini. That is going to be squaring the ascendant at 19 degrees, and we have a Lilith that it's right there at 18. That's going to be squaring Saturn, something you have not learned. You need to learn that to be happy for others. Okay, a good example for me. I will go ahead and ask him what they did. And that is going to comes in because the moon is going to begin to trining Saturn. The moon is like, oh, I have not learned something. I have not learned something for me. I need to go ahead and learn something for me. There is something deep inside of me that is wrong. And I have to really be honest and recognize this. Okay? It's the same thing that the Scorpio is really honest when it comes in to find out darkness, especially with others. Okay? But sometimes Scorpio does this to their own self. All right, talking about at 3 o'clock, the midheaven is going to be at Cancer. So if you have something in the first degree of Cancer, now you have divine energies that it's going to comes in from Pluto. Great, good job for it. The ascendant begins into the first degree of Libra. That is a trining Pluto. That is a trining the Sun, and Jupiter and Venus all coming together. All that positive energies is coming to you. Okay, and that energy, that positiveness, it's going to be coming in and it reflects on yourself. At the same time, the moon, it's moved forward. She dropped that squaring with Pluto. You don't have that intensity anymore, but still, there is no desire to talk and communicate. If you communicate during this hard time, God bless your soul, because this is going to be these expressions that you need to do during the hard time. You know, those uncomfortable communications, but they have a great frustrations. Okay, thinking about that wood that is dissolving in there, and how that oil that it comes in to help us in our life in a way. Okay. All right, so talking about 4 o'clock energies, the midheaven's going to a Cancer. That's going to helping the moon. It's like a great emotion. Saturn is at Pisces. There is all water. This isn't about expressing of these emotions. You need to understand crying, especially if you're masculine in there, is not a weakness. It's a healing pattern. If you cannot cry, that means you cannot heal, or you already went through so much that you cannot even cry about it. But if you're expressing your emotions, you're expressing what's going on inside of you, okay? And it's gonna be this energy is like, it's too heavy on me, it's too this, like this. And you're starting to let it go. So if it is a time for the confessions to some of you, find someone to talk to and confess them there. Okay, it's gonna be feeling better. All right. But just be mindful who you're confessing to it, because some people they can use that against you. And just have it in mind. All right, talking about the next hour, which is that's going to be at 5 p.m. The ascendant is at Libra. Divine energies remind you about the yesterday where the moon was. Okay, it's going to begin to trigger all this, because between 5 and 5:30, that energy is going to be just an amazing. But the midheaven, it's at the end of Cancer, beginning of Leo. That's going to be opposing Pluto. Again, this lack of transformations, this lack of changes. This is when Pluto sends us back. It's like, look at it in the past situations. Look at it, what you did in the past. You don't talk to nobody. You keep it inside of yourself. And now you have a hard time open up. And now it's like, oh my God, I'm in troubles. Open up. Find the confirmations. Anybody? Find that power to open up again, to believe again, to be in that love again. Okay? Because when you fall down, what are you going to do? Stay down? Or are you just going to get up, wipe it off the dust, take care of the bruises, keep going forward? Because it's going to be what it's meant to be. All right. So the day goes by. It's a 6 p.m. In there. The moon is moving more forward. The ascendant is together with the moon. You're probably going to start seeing it between 6 and 7 o'clock. The moon is rising on the horizon. You're going to be able to see it. Midheaven, it goes to Leo, to that energies that you were dealing from today. Now, you really have to look at that squaring. You really have to look at that intensity inside of it. But the midheaven, it is trining with Mars. And at the same time, the ascendant and the moon sending these divine energies towards Mars, where a Mars understanding is going to be where it's going to be. I don't have to fight for it. No more fights. Doesn't need it. They don't lead to progressions in there. Only need a fight if you need to protect. And that is going to be this understanding and changes that it's going to be required. But for those who doesn't change, they're still going to be silent. They're still going to be have their own missions. They're still going to be this emotions. It's like, I don't want it. And the lack of change and that ways. All right. Talking about 7 o'clock energy is going to be a lot of intensity, because the midheaven, it's at the end of Leo. That's going to be squaring all those ending energies of Taurus. We're talking about against Uranus, talking about against Venus, talking about against Jupiter, talking about against authority. And one of this energy that is going to kick in is like, you are a princess, but they choose your sister, who is also a princess, and you left alone in there. I kind of like vibes it's gonna be for it. But that is at the time you need to be happy for your sister. You need to be happy for this. And as that energy is gonna comes in for it, that beautiful energy from the moon and the ascendant is going to be a divine energy towards Mars and the North Node. That is going to be helping you to navigate those emotions. Okay? Because whatever it is what it is. Okay? So at 8 o'clock, the midheaven is together with the Lilith's divine energies towards Mars are going to be flowing so much. Divine energies flowing from the moon. Ascendant is at the beginning of Sag, but that's going to be opposing the Sun, Jupiter, Venus, and Uranus. You are like fighting within this. You can't fight the beauty. You can't fight these positive energies. You need to understand the best confirmations you can have in there in your chart. Okay, that is a Venus with Jupiter combinations coming in together under one zodiac sign. They're either in trine, they're either at sextile. If you have those energies in there, this is Athena and Zeus. You're putting this love and a growth in there. You're growing because there is love. If there is no love, you're not growing. But if there is no growth within the love, you don't know how to love. And that's what those two energies are. They're working together towards progress. And this is what Venus and Jupiter and now and the Sun, they're talking about this. It's the authority of that growth. And that coming from above, come from the gravity, coming in from the solar system. It's gonna come to us. If you're accepting these energies, then the growth is gonna shows up. Okay? Where you're fighting this energy is nothing positive, right? You are silent within all this. All right, the next hour we are talking about 9 p.m. Energies. The midheaven, it's the beginning of Libra. You're experiencing that energy with the earlier when the ascendant was there, that beautiful trines with the Sun, Jupiter, and Uranus. You seeing the beautiful. Pluto sends you back, and it says like, see how beautiful it is. You're gonna be joining that energies. The same time the ascendant that is at its range, ascending this trine towards Mars in the North Node. And since the moon it gives these divine energies in there, it says like you don't have to act like this. You can change and divine perspective within yourself. Put the divine first. Usually after the people has been so much down within them, they go back to church. They're looking for some kind of like a spiritual book. They're looking for something that it's out and above. Why? What is above? What is the highest things that it's there? Okay, it's the sun, right? That authority. But at night, when your emotions kicks in, who is there? The moon. And now your intuition is going to be talking to you. All right, we're talking about at 10 o'clock, the midheaven. It's going to be at 18 degrees of Libra. There's going to be divine energies towards Saturn. Divine lessons are learned, right? The divine is talking to you, is teaching you. He asks, you should receive. You want to learn something, nothing can stop you, okay? But you don't want it, then it's going to be a problem. Because the evolution says you need to do it, and you feel like, no, I don't want to. And that's going to come in from Mars. But if you're accepting the energies of the divine, you're going to be able to understanding what is this. This is like you've been wounded so much from relationships, and like, oh, I don't need any more relationship. But you're deeply inside of yourself, alone, and you're dying to be with someone, to share that love with someone, and you're self-harming yourself right now. This is it, the realizations. This is gonna be deep because we are going into a what? We are going into a full moon. All right, talking about the 11 o'clock, the midheaven, it's gonna be very close into the moon in there, and then about 11:30 energies for it. That moon is gonna be comes in, and together with the midheaven, I will tell you exactly what the time is. It's going to be 11:49 actually, almost just before the midnight. That divine energy that it's going to comes in from Scorpio towards Mars is in there. It is bringing it the divine warrior within. and that the divine warrior is sometimes at some point understanding that you don't have to fight with the lower energies, but it's about you to trust, surrender, and let it go to what is meant to be. To be. Some of you is going to overcome ego in a big ways. Okay, in a big ways. But those ways is what? They are needed. Okay. But now you have to face in your authority, which is just gonna happening tomorrow. Okay, guys? And that is about this today. Accepting what it is. Because if you don't accept it, somebody has to decide it. And who is the decisions coming from? It's triggers from the need, what it needs to be done, which is the intuition, which is the moon, to how and what it needs to be done, and in what way it has to be done, waiting for approval from the authority within yourself. And be mindful if you're in a business tomorrow, please don't make any business decisions, okay? Because maybe you are influenced by those heavy emotions. Okay, guys. So that's what I have for you. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everything, you guys. And if you have any concerns on anything or how is that reporting helps you in your life, please post a comment in there. All right, guys. That's all I have for you. Wish you a good day. And remember, be love and let the things to be what it's meant to be. Thank you, Jennifer. And here are some gifts of love for you guys. Be love, and I'll see you tomorrow.